Hello everyone, welcome to Business School 101. You may have heard the phrase "they don't make them like they used to." This reflects the popular perception that goods such as electric appliances, cars, or other equipment produced in previous decades surpass contemporary goods in quality. However, this perception doesn't take into account that only the sturdier items have survived into the present day. Other products that have broken down in the meantime are not visible to us. This leads us to the false impression that all goods produced in the past were built to last. The above perception is a typical example of survivorship bias. Actually, survivorship bias is noticeable in a wide range of fields, particularly in the business world. So, what is survivor bias? Are there some real-world examples? Why it matters and how to avoid it? In this video, I will discuss these questions with you. Section 1. What is survivorship bias? Survivorship bias occurs when researchers focus on individuals, groups, or cases that have passed some sort of selection process, while ignoring those who did not. It can lead researchers to form incorrect conclusions due to only studying a subset of the population. Survivorship bias is also considered a cognitive shortcut that occurs when a visible successful subgroup is mistaken as an entire group due to the failure subgroup not being visible. In a nutshell, survivorship bias is a type of selection bias. Section 2. Examples. Here are 3 classic examples of survivorship bias. Example 1. World War II plane research. The prototypical example of survivorship bias comes from statistician Abraham Wald at Columbia University, who conducted research on World War II bomber planes to recommend places for reinforcement. His team reviewed the data from all returning bombers and identified the locations on the aircraft in which they underwent the most fire. Rather than recommend those locations as places for reinforcement, however, Wald recognized they were using a form of survivorship bias. Wald noted these locations were actually spots in which aircraft could sustain many bullet holes and still return, while the planes that sustained enemy fire in other locations were the ones that went down. His team recommended reinforcements to locations less represented in the data of returned planes. As a result, they made more effective predictions and saved many lives. Example 2. College dropout billionaire. Every few months, you'll hear about some new college dropout who became a billionaire or multimillionaire after starting a revolutionary business. And for accuracy's sake, there are lots of real examples here. Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Larry Ellison, all of whom quit school and went on to make it onto world's wealthiest lists. However, in reality, college dropout billionaires are both rarer and less illustrative than people would like to admit. For example, a 2017 business analysis found that only 16% of billionaires didn't have a bachelor's degree. In other words, 84% of the country's richest people had a full college education. Further statistics illustrate additional monetary and career benefits of completing a college education. A compiled research in 2020 suggests that men with a bachelor's degree earn $900,000 more throughout a lifetime than their high school graduate counterparts. Women with a bachelor's degree earn $630,000 more. Example 3. Mutual fund performance. A mutual fund is a financial vehicle that pools money collected from investors and is managed by a professional money manager who then invests in things like stocks, bonds, and other assets. When looking at mutual funds investments, those investments will only include investments that are currently successful. Funds that were previously opened and lost money would be either closed or merged with other funds to hide past poor performances. For example, in a financial universe where 1,000 funds exist, imagine that 10% of these funds stop existing by year's end due to poor performance. If an analyst is conducting a performance review of these funds but only begins the study at the end of the year, the analyst would fall privy to survivorship bias and omit the failed funds from their final results. By not including funds that failed due to worse behavior, the performance data would indicate a more favorable result for the theoretical fund universe. Section 3. Why does survivorship bias matter? Here are some consequences if we don't pay attention to survivorship bias. First, encourages overly optimistic thinking. When you look at only the successful subset of a particular situation, it encourages you to believe in a skewed reality, in which circumstances are easier or more likely to work out than they actually are. This can cause you to take unnecessarily large risks in your life, whether financially or personally. Second, leaves out important voices. By limiting its view to only the positive results in a situation, survivorship bias leaves out the vital voices of those who have struggled to succeed. Third, suggests causation from correlation. Correlation and causation can exist simultaneously, but correlation doesn't mean causation. Causation means one thing causes another. In contrast, correlation is simply a relationship where action A relates to action B, but one event doesn't necessarily cause the other event to happen. For example, there's a correlation between eating ice cream and getting sunburned because the two events are related. But neither event actually causes the other. Instead, both events are caused by the dry, hot, and sunny summer weather. As you can see, awareness of survivorship bias is important because it impacts our perception, judgment, and the quality of our conclusions. Section 4. Tips to avoid survivorship bias. Here are a few tips that could help you better avoid survivorship bias. Tip 1. Consider what's missing from your data. Ask yourself, is your dataset complete? What observations didn't survive an event or selection procedure? Think of defunct businesses, school dropouts who didn't become billionaires, or clinical trial participants who showed no improvement. Tip 2. Pick data sources crafted to ensure accuracy. Be careful not to omit observations that no longer exist and would change your analysis or conclusions. For example, you should also look for research or business reports showing negative study results. Tip 3. When cleaning your data, be mindful of outlier removal. You may accidentally remove critical information if you don't understand what the outliers mean. It's crucial to determine whether any extreme values are truly errors or instead represent something else. Experts on the subject matter of your research can help you with this, as they know the field best. Alright, that's all for today's topic. If you have any questions regarding this video, please leave your thoughts in a comment below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.